We're up and rolling.
B.
Gallagher, how are you?
Not too bad, Tom. And yourself?
Great. I love that I just pretended like we haven't been talking for 5 minutes beforehand. We
just bitched about 95% of the Irish comedy community there, which is great.
Yeah.
Enjoy that now. Now we'll get on with the whole pretending we're nice people thing.
That'll be in the Patreon cut.
Yeah. Fuck everyone. And then, I love everyone.
Aren't they awesome? They're awesome. Although to be fair, I was on a podcast a couple of weeks ago and I only listened back to it afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it was such good fun on it. And I was kind of drawn down a path in conversation and I kind of tore the head off a few people. And through like a few digs, like going, because I just couldn't, my cynical.
Did you name them?
Yeah.
Straight out.
Yeah. No, I was actually quizzed about particular people and I kind of went, but it's been fucking done before, hasn't it? This is not reinventing the wheel. I don't know why this person's getting such lauders, but hey, what the fuck am I?
I'm sure. Yeah. Did they hear that? Those people?
I kind of hope they do. I hope they do.
Yeah, secretly you do. Yeah.
Well, what's going to come from it? Like, oh no. Like,
did you hear what Tom said about me? Like, yeah. Yeah, but you look at no matter where you are in comedy, in terms of tearing the head off people or not liking stuff. Like, sure, that's 90% of people don't like other people's material anyway. Especially when you are a comedian, like it's like, you're very, how did that get a laugh? How did that do well? How did they get a TV show? How did they blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
blah.
Isn't that funny? Like, and we're inside our own head, we're so special, like, and reality is that it's for Johnny and Joan sitting on their sofa or they don't, it's very rare you get somebody deep for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even the supremely famous comedians, like I would say 90%, let's say 85% are fair weather fans at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like getting, you got me a ticket. Nice, cool. Yeah. I don't need a lot of convincing, so that's fine. That'll be a nice Saturday night. So
that's something to do.
Yeah.
I
like how you were slagging me before we came on about looking like something out of the fucking 80s and whatnot. And ZZ Top over there drinking from a fucking mason jar.
Yeah,
you're drinking from
I'm drinking. In case you think I'm a hipster, right? I got this for free because I drank. Yeah, okay. I'm drinking craft beer. I have a beard. A fair point. Yeah.
You're drinking it out of a fucking jar.
I got this jar for free. Like in the local off license, it's if you buy 4 cans, you get a glass free. So I just got down there because I needed glassware. It's not because I have a drink problem. I just I collect glasses, Tom.
Oh, okay. I thought just every night it was just you storm out of the room, smash a glass off the wall, and just
just collecting glasses, smashing them theatrically in the corridors of my apartment building, just to make people think of an adventurous lifestyle. The beard. It's not like I don't know. I started my beard as a mustache. For Movember. That's how it started. So I had a mustache, and
it was a gateway.
It was a gateway. Yeah, gateway follicles.
It is. Yeah,
gateway follicles. And it just went, I let it grow into the mustache shape. And then I had like a little bit of stubble.
Yeah.
And I thought, fuck it, I've given it this long. I wonder what a little beard would look like. And I just wanted to do it for like a photo for a little bit of a beard.
Yeah.
And then I had a little bit of a beard. I was like, I look a bit George Michael here. You know what I mean? I'm either going to have to keep it here, get a little earring with a little gold cross on it, or
start rolling up the sleeves of my suit jackets.
yeah. Tubbs, Crockett, that kind of stuff. Or I was going to, see if it go a bit further, and I let it grow, and then I kind of fell in love with it and couldn't shave it. That's where we are.
Is there any?
But you've no excuse. Like, at least mine is something I fell in love with. You know what I mean? You bleached the end of your mustache, like that's.
No, amazing. I don't. You bollocks.
That's what I read that in Reddit.
Do you know what? The amount of people that have asked me. And genuinely, I'm standing beside me where you can clearly see it's just fucking grey hair. It's called age, people. But it came as a surprise.
Look at this. I didn't even notice that because I can't see the side of my head.
That is actually, we could be a couple of wrestlers. So
if I shave this much off, can you imagine having?
That's amazing. So Brian, for the audio listeners, Brian's what would be his mutton chops of his beard. The rest of it is dark. And his mutton chops are snow white.
Like, for all intents and purposes, I have a biker long schmig. if you were to ignore the white patches and the chops. I could just be that.
But if you shaved off the rest of that, you'd be like, maybe like a 70s Somerset farmer, just.
Or a very niche porn star, one or the other.
Do you know what? I wanted to shave the bit in the middle and just have just the white track down the side shaved and then into a big fucking schmig.
Yeah.
I think you'd be actually terrifying looking.
I had a mohawk once, and when I had a bit of a mustache, I was about, I was very young, 19. I was in New Zealand traveling.
Oh, it's classic New Zealand fucking look.
Mustache and a shaved like mullet thing, and and the mustache was like yours, only all black. It was all down to the chin. And I remember a Dutch woman saying to me one time, I was trying to chat up this Dutch girl in a hostel or something, and I was like, well, thought I was fucking the shit now with the mustache and the hair. More same as yourself, only mine was more time appropriate in terms of the decade I had it. But I was like,
you had it in the 80s. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I was 19 in the 80s. I'm 64, but I'm the beard moisturizing.
I love how you tried to give me shit. Your hair was just as shit back then as mine is now. So don't be trying to coin yourself because I was in New Zealand and I was just rolling fags with one hand, chatting some bird in a fucking hostel.
I wish I could roll with one hand, and she could. And I said to her, "What do you think?" I remember saying to her, "What do you think of my mustache?" Thinking I was deadly, and she said, and this is a quote. She paused for a second, looked at my face, and went, "You look like a talking cunt." That's exactly what she said to me.
You look like a talking cunt, as opposed to just a regular cunt.
As opposed to a non-verbal cunt. So there you go.
The Dutch cut it straight by, don't they?
They don't dice. They don't dice around. Yeah. So that was the end of that. I was like, right, this girl doesn't find me attractive.
At 19, though, you should have dug in the heels and pressed on another bit. Like, surely you should have tried another chat. Come on.
Where do you go from that?
Would that have knocked your confidence at 19? At 19, you should be fucking bulletproof. Like, literally, she could have punched you in the face, man. I see we're taking it to the next level.
I was very fragile, Tom. I was very fragile. I was very susceptible to insults from women when I was that age. I would have been like, oh my God, that's wow. If a woman knocked me back at that age, I'd have taken it very personally. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, that's terrible. She thinks I'm an awful person, or she doesn't like me, or I'm ugly, or something stupid. I would have been pure soft, like, yeah.
So you weren't the Lothario that we see today.
No, my Lothario.
He's hyper aggressive when it comes to his chat up game.
You have no idea. Yeah, I'm like, get in the car. No, I'm very laid back, very chill. So I took my knockbacks on the chin at that age, and all through my life, really, I would have just been like, okay, if somebody wasn't interested. Like, I wasn't. What's your best chat up line, Tom? What was
you know what? I was fucking brutal, but there was a very weird time. It was a very weird time.
When? The 80s? Are we back to the 80s again?
Back in the 80s. It was just the summer of love. It was I don't think my chat up game wasn't great, but I could talk for fucking Ireland. So if at least I could steer him onto a subject of sorts.
Yeah.
I could chat. I could keep a group, which is always important. It's one thing to be able to talk to one girl, but you need to be able to entertain friends. And even if there's male friends in the group, you need to be,
family.
So
were you chatting women up at a christening? That's what this sounds like. You were just.
I would literally hang out at like fucking. I was going to say primary school. So.
Hey, how old is your youngest there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just give yourself. No. Just hang around here for the chats.
No.
Yeah, I'm a fan of single women and SUVs.
No, I was not the Lothario at all. Sure, no, lad. Maybe they are nowadays. Like, I don't know, but I can't imagine.
Sure, nowadays they're all like, even my niece, all her friend group, and she's like 21 now. She puts up photographs on Instagram and stuff like, and all her friend group of lads in the group are like, they're different species completely from when we were growing up or when we were teenagers. Like they're like inverted pyramids full of muscle, and like I don't know how you get to the size that they are. Their arms are like legs. It's weird to me.
It's nutrition, Brian. We did not have that throughout the 80s, 90s, and even, dare I say, early 2000s. Like
cornflakes growing up, which is, very fancy. Very
flakes,
fancy in our
corn. Street. Yeah, I mean, really good for gains. Coca noodles. These kids are not eating Coca noodles, is what I'm trying to say. Kids have money and nutrition now. I was in Galway a couple of weeks ago and I saw something. It blew my mind just how far we've come as a society. I was in the King's Head and got there a bit early because I was closing the competition. What's it called? Show me the funny. I popped into the Jacks and it was Rag Week, the start of Rag Week. And there's a kid in there, maybe 18, 19, healthy looking fucker, of course, strong looking. Yeah. And he's in there with no shame at all, standing in the middle of the small bathroom, just tapping a little bag of Coke. Hey, how are you? I says, how are you? I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you? He went, class. And he just gives himself a little bump. Next thing, two buddies come in, not to share the bag. They all had their own
bag.
Their own bag, like. I'd be going, boys, are you all fucking students? And they kind of clammed up a little bit for a split second. Like, oh.
You do have a 1980s undercover cop like about you.
I do. It was only then, like I was wearing, a satchel and whatnot. Hello, young brethren.
Yeah.
What is the shit?
Anybody got some of that devil's powder?
I said that because you all students. They were like, yeah. I went, all right. I don't care. I'm mentioning everyone on stage when I go on because this is the most. You're all students. And you're not even sharing the Coke. You're all got your own Coke. That is
money now. It's so much money now.
Like, where'd you go to college?
Me, I was in Galway. Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah,
right. Yeah, you have to look at that. All right. Yeah. I was in Limerick. Ironically, I was.
You were there, ironically, or ironically?
Well, no, because you're the Limerick one out of the two of us here.
Right.
Like, but
this vision of you was like the most ironic student. Is that guy really in college? Like, yeah, he's just doing it ironically. You know what I mean? Like,
just walk in.
A sawed-off shotgun over your arm, like, and full camo. Like, I'm here for women's studies.
I'm here to shoot the learning out of you. Give me that learning. But well, yeah, like, I mean, I thought we were fucking rolling in it. Like, getting on the Sunday night, we'd all get back to the house or whatever after being away for the weekend, and we'd buy Max off license on the NS Road. Do you know that?
Yeah.
6 cans of White Lightning. No, Frosty Jack. It was even stronger again. It was 8% white cider. 6 of them for a $5. On Sundays only. I mean,
you'd hear your liver weeping in the dead of night after drinking that.
Even right now, I got a pain in my back.
Yeah,
I've got a pain in my back right now. Just the thought of it, like, but I thought we were rolling in it. I'm like, we are fucking kings.
Now they're out drinking cocktails and they're like, driving cars. They all have their own cars. They're out drinking cocktails. They're partying all the time. They're into the gym though. They do the whole Coke thing. Like, they have a couple of drinks, but they don't want to be hungover. They don't want to be like wasting days. They're just like, bit of Coke, up in the morning, off to the gym, just living life, just like, I don't know. It's mind blowing. Like, mind blown.
Really? Like, they're not getting absolutely fucking mangled, no?
No. Now, if there's a big one, they're using it to keep the night going on booze. But
okay.
By and large, they're on the Coke, the MDMA, couple of drinks, so they're not hungover. They can get up and attack the world the next day. Like, get their work experience in KPMG done. Go to the gym, go sailing with dad. All this kind. It's a whole different planet to what we were doing.
Man, I hear it's me like factoring in, okay, if the little fella wants to go to college, it's like fucking 16 years out. I got to put away a few pound.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't factored in. I'm going to have to buy his Coke as well.
Yeah. It's going to be dear. Yeah. It's going to be expensive. Yeah. Maybe you could start producing your own down there and be like, give him little care packages heading back to college. Like, there you are now. And there's one for the boys.
Yeah.
A little bag for the lads. You know what I mean? Go on.
Mr. O'Mahon, he's the soundest, isn't he?
Yeah.
He does the best Coke. Wish
Don't
my
tell
man
your
could
mother
make
now.
Yeah. Wish my dad made Coke for us. He tried last year. Was shit.
Yeah. My dad's dead. Suck.
Too much Coke. Okay.
Fucking hell.
So you went to go. What'd you study?
I did media studies. Yeah. No, I've been all over the place. So I was in Maynooth. My first
priesthood.
into can you imagine me? Jesus.
I can. I swear on my life, you have a lovely. No.
Normally it's gonna do something.
I'm actually gonna put some reverb on that afterwards because
that'll be lovely,
beautiful.
That'll be lovely. Yeah. It's because the throat sound is quavering out through the beard, and the beard.
Is that it?
Beard gives it a certain resonance, almost like a follicle sound enhancing curtain.
That is amazing because that takes the Mongolians like years to learn how to throat sing. But that's
just grew a beard, started drinking. That was it.
So you went to Maynooth.
I was in Maynooth, and I was doing what was I doing in Maynooth? Theology, would you believe? Right, not the priesthood, but I was doing theology.
So I wasn't actually a million miles off, like.
But I wasn't doing the priesthood. I was doing theology and arts. And
what was the hope of coming out? I need to, because I never asked. Darren Lawler did theology. Yeah. I think he finished it.
He looks theological though, doesn't he?
He does. Again, another chap that.
Yeah, he could easily have a book under his arm, and he'd be like, "Father."
You know a leather-bound book.
Yes.
So I never asked what the fuck was the plan with that, or were you just dicking about? Like,
there was no plan. Like, I just looked. I was wanted to do something, and I think I was looking for arts, and I think I didn't get the points for whatever arts course I wanted. So this arts course was the next on my list, and it was theology and arts in Maynooth. And I was like, "Fuck it, that'll do." And it was grand. I think I did sociology, something else, and theology. Theology was mad interesting, to be honest with you. It was mad interesting. And I
could see why it would be. Yeah,
I think in general religions are very, very interesting. I'm not a religious person, but the belief systems and things people like absolutely believe in different religions to me is very interesting. So I thought that was great, but I think I lasted maybe a year. I think it was like the beer versus theology. That was kind of what was going on there for a year. So I think I dropped out of that after a year, and I ended up going back later to do media, and then I went back again another time to do PR or something. Anyway, yeah. And I was in UCD recently doing another thing in, what was I doing? Innovation and creativity and leadership or some shit. I finished it, but it was good fun. Yeah. So, yeah, education, great laugh.
Tell me more about the innovation and leadership.
It's a buzzword now. So, like,
yes.
Innovation is a buzzword, right? But the course that UCD were running is the Innovation Academy that they have there. So it's like, you're basically learning you basically unlearn how to think the way you normally do in like an organization or in a company where you're just constantly rushing to get jobs done. And it makes you come back to how do you creatively approach a problem and new ways of working. And it was very interesting, to be honest with you, and very, very good. There was some senior cops on the course with me, some senior guards. So the guards are sending their people there to do these courses, and a lot of state bodies are sending their high up people to do these courses as well. How to think differently, how to think creatively, adapt.
And this guy in the middle of all you,
like me in the middle, yeah. How are you doing, lads?
Big fucking terrorist, then yes.
Oh, sorry, I was at a gig last night. Anyone got the notes from last week? Like, but that was really, really good, to be honest with you. I know innovation is a buzzword, but it's just about thinking differently, thinking how to be creative in I suppose a business world or in a corporate environment, how to push creativity and push new ideas.
I do like the idea of that, because man, you can become, even for, I suppose, aside from the comedy side of things, like I think more and more people are starting to realize that no matter how much the job is paying or how much you're told to love it, if there's no end product, or at least you're not working towards something that you feel personal about, I'd imagine you'd want to run through a fucking wall after 6 months of it, like, unless you can just switch off and go, right, I'm gonna do my 10 hours here, go home, and hang with the family, but fuck that place, like.
Well, I did just on like the innovation thing. I worked with this guy in a previous job, and he was brought in to lead innovation for the company, right? And really smart, really, really smart man. And really nice man. He was Swedish, so he was all these crazy ideas. So it was a very corporate environment. I couldn't name the company, right? But it was very like suits and lads who'd been there like since they were 20, and now they were 40, and they were in like middle to senior management, and everyone did things the same way, certain ways. This guy swans in and fucking elevator fucking trainers, like long flowing black cardigans, hair not just dissimilar to yourself, flowing in the wind. And he'd arrive in at like 11 a.m. and everyone's like, hello. And he's like, is it?
I love that.
Just wandering around blowing the fucking minds off these lads in pinstripe suits, like, you know. And then so he was trying to implement new stuff in the company. And one thing he did was around innovation as well. It was a way of working. So he gathered like 20 people from all across the whole business, like different departments, different skills, everything. And he just made them into a fictional team, if you want to call it that. Took us all out of our jobs for like 2 months, or real roles, right? And was like, okay, we're in here solving problems. And then a guy'd come in from another part of the company in a pinstripe suit and go, right, here's our problem up on a board. How do we get this fixed? Or how do we make more money out of this? Or how do we improve this process? Whatever it might be, right? And 20 people would just sit around, shoot the shit, come up with ideas. So you could be like somebody who was in the post room. You could be on the team, right? You could be like a very, very senior executive. You were on the team. Everybody's opinion was equal and valid, and people just came up with random ideas. And then you almost voted on stuff that you would prioritize and not prioritize. And then everybody got little bits of the puzzle to work on and then talk to other people in the company. And my main talent in any job I've ever had, to be honest, is just people. Like I was never very good at the actual job I was ever hired for.
Yeah.
But I was very, very good at, like, if somebody in any company I've ever been in was like, oh, Jesus, if only we could get this across the line. And I was always the guy who'd go, I just asked Pat. And they're like, who's Pat? You know, Pat hangs out with Tom. They play golf on Sundays. Lovely lad. Loves a pint. They're like, what the fuck who are you talking about? I'd ring a guy up and like, Pat, pint. Or I'll have one. Next thing, problem solved. I'll tell Pat will fix it. Like, you know, so I was always that kind of person. And that in that team, I love doing that kind of work, you know.
Yeah.
Like ringing up random lads, calling in favors, getting people to do stuff. And we, not to bore you, but we had like a project from one guy, which they've been working on for 3 years in the company for traditional methods, right? And they gave us 2 weeks thinking nothing had happened. Like, and we basically came up with a solution to the problem in 2 weeks just by working as a random team who didn't have set roles. And it was a brilliant way to work. Like, it was great fun. But you'd be wrecked doing it though. You'd be exhausted. There's no downtime. Like, you can't go hiding in the toilet like I used to do when you're doing that kind of work. Like, you know.
That's them fucking Scandinavians, by, isn't it? They don't, you know, they don't mess around. But then, fuck it. I think in that instance, like if you're on we'll just call it the think tank.
Yeah.
Like you should don't be make it a clinic. Don't be fucking swanning in here at all hours of the fucking day.
Yeah.
We're in between fucking 9 and 2.
Yeah.
We're fucking gone after that. So I don't want to fucking talk. Do you know? Yeah. I think because
let's work, and then go. Yeah.
Because the reality is if you could put an actual workometer on somebody's forehead, I guarantee it. Do you know? I've just invented a word, so you know.
I love the positioning of it too, so everybody can see whatever.
Yeah,
doing. Yeah.
I guarantee it. If you're working at a desk or working on, once you walk through the door of the building, you are not giving a solid 8 hours. There's it's not physically possible. But I would wager there's probably 2 hours of actual productivity for the company.
Yeah. Proper working. Like,
yeah.
The rest is just email faffing about or zoning out or going for coffees or whatever. Like, yeah.
I remember
the work day could easily be 4 hours. Like.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that right? Everybody, drop a fucking Red Bull. I'm about to hit the bell. Bang! Right, hammer down. No grub, no talk, no nothing. Flat to the mat for 4 o'clock. Or for 4 hours. Gone. Right. Look, if we can get it done in the 4 hours, it's worth fucking doing.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that.
Yeah. Well, because like most of the time in offices that I ever worked in was basically it'd be 12 o'clock and somebody'd go, what are you doing for lunch?
Yeah.
Right. And from 12 to 1 is basically a team conversation about who eats what, who's allergic to what, who won't eat in that place again, who wants to eat in that place again. Where will we go? Who'll walk? Is it raining now? Did you bring an umbrella?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have my shoes. Maybe I'll stay and get a salad here. I don't know, though. That new coffee place looks nice. It's like an hour, and then there's an hour lunch. So that's 2 hours fucking, and then afterwards, I did actually enjoy that. You know, did you? I did. Yeah. 3 hours of the day is lunch. You know what I mean? That's mental.
The brief
break up the unions. It's what you're saying, Tom, and I support you.
I know remember talking with a mate who's in Denmark years, and it drove him around the fucking twist at the beginning because he was, you know, in like that, he was in the team. Yeah. But they're very into, but my child says suck a match, so I go and they're like, you're fucking going, what? Where? You're going nowhere? And they go, oh no, I'm already gone. I'm sorry. So, fuck. But They were knocking out those 4-day weeks long ago. And it bent his brain because he was like 20 years working here.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. And he was gone. And then it slowly started to twist back. And he's like, I will never work at home again.
Yeah.
If I ever move home, it's only if I can do it from remotely.
Yeah.
But they were long before any pandemic. This particular company were trying to work down to like a 1 day in the office, the rest at home.
Well, another place I worked at, there was an office in Dublin, an office in America, and an office in Sweden.
Yeah.
And they bought a Swedish company in the very first summer. I think they bought them in like December, and it came to I think it was July. I think that's the month. Basically, you're sending emails to your colleagues in Sweden, going, "Can we check this? Can you look at that?" And and then it's like nothing coming back.
Yeah.
Has anyone got an email from Johannes lately? We're trying to find out about X or Y. They're like, "Oh no, I can't get this other guy either." And then we find out eventually, like that the whole of Sweden just fucking vanishes in July. They go to lake houses. They all have these like little wooden lake houses, and they just go there and eat fucking herring that dig out of the ground or some shit. It's mad. And they just sit on a lake for a month.
I love
enjoy life. Like that was it, just gone. But
that's why they all look mint.
Yeah. Oh, sure, they're beautiful people.
That's why it isn't they've got better fucking herring than us. They've literally got.
They weren't picking spuds in the rain.
No. Well, and picking spuds for somebody else in the rain either. They were eating them spuds themselves. Then be their spuds. We were just picking them and going, "Here you go, my lord. Here you go. Oh, thank you. In exchange for a rock, I shall eat this rock. Thank you.
Thank you. A rock in the corner.
I don't have any teeth anyway. This is fine."
Scratching your face. So it was mad. They just take the whole month of July off, but they're way more into like work-life balance properly. And then the Americans, the other side of that whole coin was the Americans were like, you could email an American at any time of day or night and you'd get a reply within 4 minutes.
Oh, it's fucked up.
Like, and I'm emailing going, I just wanted you to reply to this tomorrow. Like, they're like, no, I'll check that right now. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're at your it's your wedding. Why you
but one thing I will say, right, what I noticed from the time I worked in America was there's some bios to flute around.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
They want to be seen to be there.
Yeah. But the fuck acting that goes on and the talking about doing talking. And I remember
pre-meeting meetings.
Oh, I like it because I've done like you're steeped in corporate stuff, and I've done a good bit of corporate stuff online with Americans. Oh, mother of fucking Jesus. Like they're so positive too to a fault nearly. It's dangerous because you kind of want to go, lads, be fucking shouting me or something like. But
somebody say this is shit, please.
There'll be 3 meetings relating to the thing, and I get it. Everybody has a job to do. But it's like, lads, you're like the civil service, the lottie. Like you're just making jobs for jobs now. This is you're shoveling light into dark corners, you fuckers. Now, cop on.
Only the civil service don't want to cast any illusion that they're actually doing it, and that's the only difference there. Like,
it's a beautiful place to be, when you think about it. Like it's just, I remember talking with a mate. He worked for Éireann Road Éireann, and very smart chap, very very smart chap, and he was probably underselling himself, but his dad had kind of worked there forever, and he was like, "That's a good fucking solid number." And he could have done anything he wanted in college, but he didn't, and he went on, but he was gung ho. He was going to give it his best working for Irish Rail. Day one, the phone is ringing in Limerick Junction or wherever he was working, and there was like 50 lads working there at the time too. It didn't make any sense. Now they cut them all back to like 12 or whatever it was, but the phone's ringing. Somebody wanted to know the phone times. This is long before the internet was of a decent standard, and he went to answer it. And whoa, fucking whoa! What are you doing? I'm going to answer the phone in case somebody wants info. It's like, you fucking do no such thing. Relax there now.
Not your job.
But it wasn't even that. It was just like, don't answer.
They just wouldn't answer.
No, just don't answer. That's a job, a possibility of a job. And if you start doing that, then before you know it, innovation will start, and we'll all have to come out from underneath the rock that we're living and earning a fortune for.
Oh, they were well paid, man. Yeah.
Like lads haven't paid double time for full on sleep, sleeping.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I mean, dream scenario stuff like, but
again, the flip side of that is it makes you realize, because everyone talks about all those old semi-state companies and everything else, and how much money these guys were paid, like, and they were paid a fortune. If you adjusted for like inflation over the years, like how much these guys were actually earning back then was probably equivalent to well over 100K today. You know what I mean? For sleeping, like you're saying, you know what I mean?
I knew a guy who worked for Darren down at Cork, and I mean the guy was always fresh as a daisy. He played on the same darts team, I remember, as my brother-in-law, and he was a hell of a nice fella. But the talk was that he was he was grossing just shy of 100K, and this would have been 2004, 2005, and it was literally he'd done enough courses to sort, and as you went up the ladder, but really actually you gained no responsibility or no further position bar you were accredited. So being accredited, you had to get X amount as a result of it, and then it was basically overtime was just triple time, like on certain days, like, so you just
isn't that where the unions ruined themselves though? Like, because the unions were like, you know, all about the working man, and then all of a sudden were essentially all about the public service and big semi-state companies, and it was like fighting for the right of a lad who's asleep to earn 96K as opposed to fighting for the rights of an office worker out of college to earn more than 20. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, hello, there's a big fucking, they lost the country in that way, I think, you know. But anyway.
Yeah, I know. I was just doing research for we won't go too political, but your man,
So you recruiting me here for something? We won't go too political.
So we have this militia we're thinking of, Brian, and your beard would fit in perfect.
I knew that's the only reason you wanted me. The beard. Oh, lads.
But I was watching your man Eamon Ryan like talking, because I wanted to do a bit on the Ramble Pod, like, and I was going, if anybody hears this, like, it's purely for patrons, and a lot of them are abroad. They'll go like, have you heard the shit that guy comes out with? Like,
what they do? Yeah. So my feelings on Eamon Ryan are very mixed, right? So it's interesting to bring him up. I think he's a very good guy. I've one of the few honourable politicians in terms of he says what he thinks and he believes what he believes, and he's not trying to pretend to be anything else. But he does come out with some awful clangers, like some awful South Dublin clangers, like.
Which is what, to me, like, I get it. He does seem like a genuine fella, but almost like Tim Nice but dim.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that he's getting really well paid. That's what's killing me more than anything. It's like, you're on like, I wouldn't mind you at all. If you were working on a building site labouring alongside me. I'd love actually hanging out with you, because you seem like great crack.
Yeah.
Because I'll never forget, he reminds me of, I worked with this guy who could only describe him as a white Snoop Dogg. He was the skinniest. He was hilarious, but I remember him, he just turns to me one day smoking a joint while he was stacking these blocks, and he says, "Oh, fucking disgraceful, isn't it?" I said, "What's disgraceful?" And he never answered those kind of questions. He just went, in his head, whatever he was thinking was disgraceful. And he went, I mean, what would Sherlock Holmes say if this kind of carry on was going around now when he was alive? You know what I mean? I'm going, Sherlock, are you thinking of the same fella? And just went on whistling about his day. And these were these throwaway things that they had no impact. Bar, I thought they were fucking hilarious, and they left me puzzled for the day. But he seems to be standing in the Dáil and saying things like, I think all rural villages should get one car to share. I think that'd be the right thing to do. This, never been south of the Red Cow, like, and you're going, you actually said that. You actually said that. Like, there's a clip of him going, yeah, sure, I mean, this is the Soviet Union, no, USSR, no, they're going, fucking Russia. Russia.
Time has moved on. He holidays in Inishbofin and a lot off Galway, and it's I think his whole views of rural Ireland are informed by this tiny island, where you can walk, cycle, or there's one van driving around dropping people off. Like, he's like, oh, look how idyllic this is. He wants to live in a very idyllic world, which I don't think is possible.
He if he had his way, he'd be Eamon de Valera in it, having them all dancing at the crossroads, keeping us all fucking Wouldn't it be all the country folk? Would it be great if all the women just wore black? Wouldn't that be lovely? And headscarves, and the men just wore buttoned-up shirts with no collars. Nice hats.
You're making a compelling argument, Tom.
Well, this is coming from the guy that looks like your opener used to be exactly that, wasn't it?
Have I just joined the National Party? What's happening here? This is incredible, like, unbelievable.
What part? You're not from Limerick City, sure you're not?
No, God no. I'm from Foynes, West Limerick.
Oh, cement factory.
Road, Kerry. Cement factory is Mungret. So you're
Oh,
going
is it?
on out past the cement factory, keep going, out the coast. The port, Foynes.
Yes,
The port,
there's
yeah.
actually, do you know what?
Have you ever driven to Tralee on the coast road?
Oh no, loads. And I was
yeah.
coming back one night and I was just flabbergasted, but my guest was well and truly flabbered by this unbelievable manor house up on the right as you're driving like on the coast road.
That's Glen Castle, isn't it?
That's
it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen that somewhere before.
You know who was living there? You know, do you watch The Wire?
I have seen The Wire, yeah.
You know McNulty?
Yes.
Well, McNulty married the Knight of Glyn, who's still a thing, but I think is he dead now? No idea. If he's not, he's probably on display. Who knows? Anyway, so he married the Knight of Glyn's daughter, and they were living there for quite a while. They took over the house. Very expensive to run these big old, as you'd know yourself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
how to run these big old houses on vast estates in the countryside. As I said, you all too familiar with it yourself, you know. But
hello, sir. Typical cap, sir.
Hello,
morning, sir.
Hello, Mr. Mahoney. But so he was living there for ages, and Glyn is a town that is a classic Irish town insofar as it's the nearest town to that castle you're talking about, which is amazing views over the Shannon Estuary. Beautiful views. That drive is incredible. But the town of Glyn is like perpendicular to the views, and it's like the whole town just faces each other all the way up, like away. Yeah. Even your back garden can't see the sea. You know, it's just like it makes no sense. You know,
isn't that unbelievable? I always find that hilarious. Like British seaside towns will always face to the sea.
The whole thing will face the sea.
You go to Youghal and it's just the very same thing. It's just no, we must not look.
How can we block the water? Yeah,
for that's where the Kraken lives, and if we look in his eye, his many eyes, he will steal our soul.
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. But that town is well known as a good drinking town, and I remember somebody telling me one day that they stopped there on their way to Listowel or something. Yeah, they stopped in Glyn for like early pints. They were heading on a stag or something, so they stopped halfway, a few pints, and they were inside in the pub, and like they just kept recording videos of going McNulty's in a pub in Glyn, and we don't even know where the fuck Glyn is, like, and it was McNulty, like just supping pints of a Tuesday afternoon in Glyn, like having the crack with the lads, you know. So yeah, that's Glyn Castle. So there's a link to The Wire. So yeah.
By Jesus Christ. Well, now, thank you very much. Because I did not know. I was just going, fuck, I've seen that. I think it might have been on one of those Lords and Ladles. Do you remember they kind of cook old? I think it was on something like that before.
It might have been, yeah. It might have been. I know it was on Nationwide a couple of times, that, you know, the TV show that does all the rural Irish stuff.
I would have loved to be on. I think I would have been perfect for Nationwide.
You'd be a great Nationwide roving reporter. Like,
I think I would.
Here's Tom from the Foxhole. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. But they never, and I chatted with your man, the big fella. What was his name?
Oh, the tall.
And he was like, do you know what? The idea of it is a good idea to have a bit of a light vibe. Like, but no, they were down the stuffy. I hadn't a fucking hope. Anyway,
it was very much like, let's send somebody who speaks very elegantly but can still understand the natives. It had that kind of feel, you know what I mean? Like an expedition into the Amazon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like they're talking to
cameraman. I speak their language. Oh, I do bungu didao. I was like, what the fuck? Like, you know, where are you? I'm in Tipperary. Do you know what I mean? It's like
I know they were standing there, Helly Hansen jacket, like, you know, going, oh, I fork silage myself all the time. All the time I do. And you're like, no, you don't. You have staff. We'll just stop.
Like, anyway, staff who fork silage, but you don't even have a farm. You just pay people to fork silage.
I know.
As a hobby. Yeah.
So was it first in New Zealand? Then you were like, how? So where does college factor into you in New Zealand with a mohawk?
Oh, I was in New Zealand for a year. Then I came back and went to college. Then I dropped out of that. Then I went working. Then I went back to college. Be sketchy enough on the old dates now, Tom.
Oh, don't you worry about it.
That's the general chronological order of things there, roughly. Yeah.
And where? What?
I was in New Zealand twice. I was in New Zealand when I was young, and then I went back, just traveling again. I went back there. Oh God, it must be 5-6 years ago now. I went back to New Zealand for a while.
And what trauma sent you to stand-up comedy then?
Trauma, birth. I don't know. I always wanted to try stand-up
I told you we weren't going to get deep, and I just for the crack, I threw that in.
Give me your story now first.
Oh, sorry. Then I go and edit it out. Yeah. That's not something people do. Sure, it's not.
Yeah,
nobody would ever do that.
I never heard that happen before. Yeah. No, I just want, like, New Zealand for me was, I wanted to go traveling, and I did. And I, in terms of stand-up comedy, I always wanted to try it. I was always a big fan of comedy, watching all I watched when I was a kid growing up was comedy on a different TV in a different room to everybody else. I'd be watching like sitcoms and stand-up and always loved it. And was always a messer at workplaces, was always a messer in school. You know, the guy with the smart remark for the teacher, that kind of stuff, and always wanted to try it. And then I was too afraid to try it for an awful long time, to be honest with you. Didn't think I'd be any good at it. And then when I did start trying it at open mics, I was not blowing my own trumpet, but I was pretty good when I started.
Shit, I was about to, for you. I was sure promising you to me myself you were going to go, and I confirmed. Same. I
was amazing. No, I was maybe just, I suppose, a little bit better than other people starting at the same time as me. Just a little bit. I didn't even see it, but other people were like, "That was really good." I'm like, "Oh, was it?" I wrote that today. I don't know, is it any good or any bad? And then I just, once I got that first hit of adrenaline.
Oh, stop!
First open mic, that was it. Hooked.
Yeah.
Gone. Done.
Put it in my veins.
Yeah. But even I remember, actually, story about you. I remember, well, it's not really about you, it's about me, which is all great comedians do.
Of course.
About you and then bring it back to themselves.
They've been, trust me, they've been listening to this podcast for 4.5 years. They know that rule always applies.
So, Tom, funny thing about you, that's more about me. I remember doing the gig. I wasn't long after starting, and I did a gig down in Galway somewhere, and you were doing the gig, and it was awful. It was a gig in a big open empty bar. It wasn't a proper venue, whatever the story was with it. You were closing the show, and I was just doing a few minutes or whatever, and I was very nervous, and I didn't have the skills to adapt to a room or to an audience or change things up. I just was able to go from A to B, beginning to the end of my set.
Yeah.
And I did that, and it was excruciating. And I remember you saying to me after that, "Go, just fair play, you did well there now." But I could tell by your eyes that you're like, "This lad, you just fair play to you for getting through it. You suffered, And then I did a gig with you in a rugby club. I don't know how many years later, only a couple of years later, in Dublin. I don't know if you remember this. There's a rugby club down in yourself, myself. I think Seamus Stackpool was there. I can't remember who was running it. Was it Ian? What's his name? Was running this gig? Do you remember the gig?
Ian O'Connor. Yes, O'Connor. I do. It was it Old Belvedere?
It was something like that. I can't remember the name of it. No,
it was a very posh area.
It was Sandymount. But I can't remember the name of the rugby club. Railway Union. That was it. Railway Union.
Yes.
And I went on first, and you were headlining. Excuse me. I went on for those of you who didn't catch that. I burped. It's because I'm drinking beer from my mason glass. So I went.
Your beer trapped it, actually. Sorry, I just went to yes. Fantastic.
I went and I did my set, and I came off, and it was the break, and you came up to me and you said, I believe very earnestly you said to me, "Jesus, you've come on a long way since I last saw you anyway, fair play to you." And I was like, and for me, having been new enough for comedy at the time, I took that as oh geez, nice one. Tom Manny just said I got a lot better from the last time he saw me.
Well, people never fucking say it. That's the problem. They never they're all fucking. I don't know what this lack of. I don't know, is it empathy or fucking manners, or maybe it's just self-involvement, but it's just not a trend that people do for some unknown reason.
No,
give somebody a genuine compliment.
Yeah. If it's for me, if it's real, because you know what comedy's like. How many times you hear people going, "Great set, man. Yeah, you too. Great set. Great this. Great. Oh yeah, you too."
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. Did we all just do well? Who's delusional here? We all saw the room.
Yeah.
Paul
That shit now.
Paul should be in a fetal position. He didn't get a single laugh for 15 minutes. That was terrible. But everyone's like, "Hey, good job, Paul." It's crazy. So I would never give a compliment to somebody. I would only compliment people when I think it's been geez, that was either if it's an established comic.
Yes, that's what I mean.
If it's an established comic who did really well above and beyond their normal do well, I'd be like, "Man, that was amazing," right? Whereas it's a given they did well if I don't say anything. But if it's a newer comic or an open mic or whatever, or somebody, around my own level, if they do badly, I'm not going to go, "Oh, nice job, well done," because I'm like, I'm not going to. Why are we all feeding into this, self-indulgent nonsense? If you do bad, just put your head down and just take it on the chin. You don't want people lying to you at the same time, And that means that your compliments, when they're real, are taken earnestly and are taken as real. If you're not
100% behind that, and that's it. There's that fucking great job. I cannot. As I said before this, hence why I'm not a more successful comedian, because I can't hide behind that veil of oh my god, are we all doing? I'd take way more solace if somebody turned around with "fucking hell." what a pack of cunts they didn't go with that one. Or do
yeah,
you know what I mean? And somebody I know, I'd go, fuck, I know. Because that wasn't bad. That needs work, but it wasn't bad. Sure, it wasn't. It was like, no, but it sucked the dick up there. It fucking did. Yeah. And I could see a progression because obviously I remember, remembered you from the first time. And it was like, well, this is worth saying.
Yeah. No, and honestly, I genuinely, not blowing smoke up your ass, but I really appreciate that at that time, because I was at that stage when I was doing comedy where I was like, it felt no different to me from when I had just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, am I pushing on at all? Like,
I feel like I'm exactly the same as that time I was doing that, gigs in the middle of nowhere for no money, to awful audiences, driving 5 hours round trip for no money, and I was like, this feels exactly the same in terms of what I'm doing. And then for somebody who would like yourself to go, well, actually, you've come on a lot from when I last saw you. And then to me, it was like, okay, I'm making progress here. Nice one, that's good to hear.
But again, rarely you can actually. It's rare to put an increment on things, I suppose. I mean, to actually, it's hard to measure. Do you know? It's not like sports where you can literally go, well, let's look at my chart. I couldn't fucking break. There's no. And for somebody, I remember a couple have kind of spurred me on. I kind of took inspiration from that. The likes of Barry Murphy.
Yeah.
Like 2 years in, he was like, after seeing me like pretty much raw as hell.
Yeah.
And then giving me advice how to get on to the next one. And then the likes of, even up until very recently, we all need it because we all have to keep on getting better. Like,
yeah, of course.
Regardless, if as soon as you run stagnant, fucking pack it into fucking walk.
Get it, walk away.
Walk away, because it's supposed to be a creative art. And if you're just banging out the jokes you were doing 5 fucking years ago, and you're in the road to people. You're in the fucking road. That's what you are. Come out of it. And it was like Deirdre O'Kane pulled me aside and went, I have to tell you something. And just gave me holy when I would have loved that. I don't know how, but I'll take it.
I know this happened. Oh, sure, why not? Yeah, go on. Sorry, Carl. I couldn't.
But no, it was again the same along that line. Like, was like, suffered, sweet Jesus. Now, she hadn't seen me until prior time she seen me. I opened for her a couple of nights. 6 years ago, 7 years ago, even. And you're opening to a room full of Deirdre O'Kane fans. On a Wednesday night in Navan. They ain't there, like looking at me like, is he the stripper? Because he looks shit. I don't know. It's who booked him. So, but and like pump my tires no end, kicks you on it going,
it does, of course.
Because you're all still human, and sometimes it's easy to dehumanize the people who are doing really, really well, because you're like, they're just, no, of course they have their now it is nice when they have a team to rally around them, of management and all the rest of them to go, this is where you're going next, because you've moved to this next level. But
but those people, like, like, it's interesting you say that, to dehumanize like proper hugely successful stars or hugely successful comedians. And it is easy to do that, because you're like, all of a sudden you're forgetting they spent 15 16 years on the same road you've been on, and they've done the same stuff you've done.
All of them now. Not all of them.
Not all of them. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Some got to pull up the hard shoulder and go flat to the mat up the hard shoulder too, right?
There was a few leg ups, all right. Yeah. There was a few flashing blue lights steering them in,
but still graft had to be put in. Yeah.
By and large. I mean, those are the ones we focus on because they're such rarities. But by and large, most people who make it have been slogging or working hard to get there, and it's easy to begrudge based on one time you saw them, or one experience you had with them, or one creative project they did that was shit. It's easy to go, oh, well, look at the shit they did there. How come they're successful?
Yeah.
Whereas you'd fucking take the hand off somebody, I take the hand off somebody to do a shit project. To get me on another bit. I'll be like, absolutely. What do you want me to do? I'm shaving my head. Cool. And I'm just going to go blah, 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 blah. Sound, I'll do it if it means it's going to kick me on to another level. But then if you get onto that level, somebody's going to look at what you did to get there and go, the fuck was that shit about? Like, I wouldn't just sell myself out like that. Of course Of course you would. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, of course you would. Of course you would. I've done those projects where I'm going, but the money's really good, and trust me, I'll get something out the back end of this.
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's always something off the back of everything. No matter how bad it is.
That's why I sell well now in Limerick at the UCH. Not because I'm a son of Limerick, but because of the panto.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. But
every little thing leads to something else. Always does, Like even when I started doing comedy and I was driving all over the country, and just doing like the worst gigs and getting home at 5 a.m, or the airport bus, you'd get that back sometimes. And they wouldn't drop you in town. The driver just go, no, airport today. You're like, what the fuck? And then you got to get a bus from the airport, and you're getting up. You're going
freezing, almost freezing.
Getting to bed at 5, getting up at 8, going to work. You're like, Jesus. And then you have people like saying to you, and I remember at the time, comics who were at it maybe a couple of years before me, and they were like, oh, I can't believe you went down there for a gig. Like, and I'm like, well, I just want to get better. I just want to do gigs, like, because I can't get into these clubs X, Y, and Z because they don't see me doing stuff. So if I do this stuff, maybe they'll go, well, he's doing a lot of stuff. He can't be that bad. So let's give him back. And these people were like, and there was a few of them, and they were like, nah, if I'm not getting paid, I'm not leaving Dublin. In fairness, like, it's a joke to expect you to do it. And they're still, like, those people are still snotting around 10 years in, and they're barely over open mic level because they won't put in the work. They don't want to work, like, and that's the bottom line. And I think that's why country comics do well faster than I suppose more softly raised kids.
Yeah, that's a valid point. I never actually thought about literally the logistics of where you're from, where you don't mind, because you do have to travel. You physically got to go somewhere to get to the shop. Everybody needs a license early doors, like.
And you're used to working, like, you're used to like looking at a field full of stones and going, faster I pick this, now the faster this is over. Like, and it's that mentality. That mentality that gets you through the rough patches or the apprenticeship to get on to the next level. Like, when people don't want to put that work in, they're never going to get anywhere. Like,
Yeah, it's funny because I when people go, oh fuck, man, you drove to Belfast 2 days in a row. I'm like, fucking right I did. Because guess what I get to do at the end of it?
Yeah,
I get to the privilege of all privileges to stand on a stage in front of strangers, and they break their shit laughing, and then somebody hands me money for doing it. And the big job is to fucking sit behind the steering wheel of a car. Are you joking me? Yeah. This is the greatest job in the fucking world. I don't give a fuck what I have to do.
Yeah.
But
cruise down the road, cruise up the road. Handy. I drive anywhere, no bother. Yeah.
It did always strike me, like, when I putting on, fair fucking play to you for putting on gigs and stuff like that. But at least you're in a set. But Jesus, putting on gigs, the amount of times I get message off people. We've tried to run a few, like myself and a couple of lads, and like Danny O'Brien is a fucking workhorse. Unbelievable work ethic, but to a fault, he nearly put too much faith in some of these publicans and stuff, going, I think I'm like, the fucker just wants to sell pints. But you never know what's coming around the corner. But the amount of times we're getting messages of people going, so how do I get to Selbridge? Like,
Selbridge, yeah.
Well, if that's where your stumbling block is, then
will there be somebody to pick me up from the bus?
Oh, the amount of time, and you're like,
the bus stops in the town.
Grown adult. You're a grown adult. Is there going to be food at this as well? Because like I pretty much don't know. Actually,
I get big cash before I go on stage because I want to have a few pints and I have no money.
It was the best one yet was a headliner who died on his bollocks actually the same night. Was really cribbing about petrol money, driving from Dublin now to Selbridge, right. On top of this, so it was like, oh, for the love, right. And he gets out there and he's talking with my brother-in-law. My pure chance, my brother-in-law is there and my wife. And he's just nattering after or just beforehand. He's going, this is a great gig for me, to be honest. Yeah. Because my wife is coming out anyway to see friends out here. So I just popped out with her and she's going to collect me on the way back. It's class. I'm just going to have a couple. And you're like, you're the one fella who looked for the fuel and you're like, would you do it? Would you fucking do it? Like,
some people are just, Now again, there's a flip side of that. There's some comics who would, if you offer them a pack of peanuts, they'd travel to a gig. Like, and they're watching people walking in paying 25 a head, and they're going, "Is there a chance more peanuts?" Or no, actually, forget it. I'm just delighted to be here. Really, you're like, see, two ends of the scale.
Hold on, are you allergic to peanuts? Because your face is swelling. Oh yeah, no, but I will take more peanuts.
But they're free.
No, there gets to a point too when you must put a value on your product. Like, there's no way not to get all wanky about it, but you must put a value on your product.
Value on your product, value on your time, and different factors apply in Ireland. Like, depending if you're doing Dublin, often you get paid less in Dublin because you can double up or do a load of gigs on the same night, and you're like, I plan a little route around Dublin to do a ton of gigs. Or if you go down the country, it's kind of accepted that I just said down the country because I've been living in Dublin too long. But if you go outside of Dublin, you get like a little bit more money because it's kind of factored in that you're going to be people are paying more anyway.
They typically are paying more, yeah.
For comedy, and you got fuel and stuff like that to factor in. Like, so I think it all balances out. But people just I mean, running gigs, like you said, running gigs. I run a few gigs, and I'm involved in different gigs, and I love it because I worked in hospitality years ago as well. So when I run a gig, it's all about like seating people, getting to know people. It's not like a ram and pack 'em and stack 'em comedy club thing that I kind of go for. I go for the more, okay, I've got a table of 4 over here, table of 2, get to know everybody, introduce the crowd, turn it into like a little community.
Lovely.
Where you get people coming back again and again and again, not a pack 'em and stack 'em, churn 'em over kind of comedy club style.
I do like the vibe of that. All right, we'll but tell me before I've never properly asked you because I know nothing about it, and I should, why should I? Because I'm a 40-year-old man. But tell me more about facts, because
oh Jesus, yeah.
I that's something like that is something along with the whole YouTube, I suppose. Wave that passed me by, because I could never see much value in YouTube for me. Now all my podcasts are up there, everything's up there, but at the same time, and I'll never forget. And you would have gotten this obviously a million times, but I'll never forget, through whatever means, I don't know what video these kids must have seen. I'm assuming it was the only super popular one that went up. It was a ghost show that I was in.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw that on TV, actually.
Yeah, it's on my YouTube channel, and I can only assume it's that one. But these kids, I was walking back from a gig in town one night, and they were only kids, like they were only maybe 17 or 18. And one of them went, "Oh, hey, that guy's a YouTuber." I'm like, I wanted to go, I'm fucking well not. I don't. Once you have a YouTube account, does that make you a YouTuber? But it was weird to be noted for purely never been actually seen, because that was something that I'm only getting my head around now, Brian, is going, oh, right, because realistically, banging your head against the wall, yes, getting better by going to clubs and getting better by writing new material. But the reality is, if you want to break it in Ireland, you gotta get popular online. Simple as that.
You either got to get popular online, or you got to somehow find your way onto TV. And
even the TV is dying.
Do you know what I mean? Dying, But like, so, to address your first question, facts. So I was doing facts channel, and then subsequently after that, when facts was gone, I was doing try channel. I don't do them anymore, but I was doing both, and both great fun, right? Both good, like great fun to do, some of them. But what I found about it was, like, you'd come up with the wittiest comment ever, or you'd have a great, I know what you're going to say here. And it would just go straight over the heads of 90% of people watching the videos, right? Yeah. And then somebody will say something like, "I put shit in my face," and all of a sudden the comments are like, "Oh my God, did he just say put shit in his face? This is the best line. That guy should be on Live at the Apollo." And you're like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with these people?"
Yeah.
So I rarely watched them. Then I watched some of the videos I was in myself, but I wouldn't have watched many of them apart from that, to be honest with you. But I got recognized I was in Galway gigging, and this is true. I was walking down the street the next day, a little bit hungover after a gig down there, and this guy was pulling a bin across my path, and I stopped because he kind of came across me, and I was like, "Jesus, no story, man," And he looked up, it was the bin man, and he went, "Ah, I know you from Fax," and I'm like, "All right." He goes, "Ah, you're class, man." I'm like, "Oh, cool, sound like." So from like, this is a middle-aged bin man, like, who recognizes.
Really?
Yeah, Americans. To give you context of what it's worth to you as a comedian, and this in general terms, making money anyway. But so I've been to Edinburgh. I've gone to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Every year, I'll be going back again this year with a new show. But I've gone to Edinburgh like last two full runs, and I would say that the YouTube channels, Fax and Try combined, would have put maybe 4 to 5 people on seats every day. Now, if I have a 60-seater venue, it's 5 people a day at £10. That's £50 a day that came in directly. Now, no disrespect to anybody who's listening, not stand-up comedy fans.
Of course.
Like, will sit there and look at me as though I'm like somebody off television, the same way I would look at somebody off television. If they sit in a small room, I'd be like, "Geez, that's your man off telly." And that's what they do. They just look at you like this going, it's your man off the thing that we saw. And then you'll tell a joke, they'll be like, "Ha ha ha." But they're not in the moment. They're not in the moment of stand-up. They're just watching you because they've seen you on something else. So it's not getting you a quality stand-up audience, if that sounds a bit wanky to say. But it does get you recognized. And part of me, ego-wise, didn't like that either, though. It's like, I didn't like the bin man going, I did a gig the night before and I smashed it, like, and I was like, feeling pretty good about myself, like smashed it last night, and the guy's like, I saw you eat cornflakes. I'm like, oh, cheers. Do you know what I mean? Like your ego.
No,
like,
I get it. I absolutely get it. I get
know?
it. Yeah.
So, but yeah, if you like, you look at podcasts, YouTube, online, to address your second question, in terms of making money or getting your profile raised or making it, breaking it, has to be online is the only way. But people have to play to their strengths as well. Like when the pandemic happened, like if I see, even now, if I see one more person just changing the angle of the phone to be a different person, like, and just fuck off, like, just go get off my phone.
Actually, Paul Marsh did a great one the other day.
Oh, that was very good. Yeah,
that was very good.
That was it. But
very good.
Probably because he doesn't do them. You know what I mean? It was like, wow. When, you know, it was, and it was very clever because it was taking the piss out of that. It was taking the piss out of that, which was very good. But yeah, that would, like, that kind of stuff is just, it gets a bit, everyone has different skill sets. So like I have no issue with the online stars or the online comics. I think a lot of their stuff is brilliant and I like a lot of their stuff. But I don't think it's right on them, number one, and number two on me. And more importantly, that, like, you look at a lineup at some like Ballymonte Castle Extravaganza Comedy Festival, and you've got 27 fucking content creators on the lineup, and I'm like, how are they going to do this on a stage? Like, how? And
they can't.
There's a handful, less than a handful. You can count on one hand those that can do it, can do both. On one hand, less than a few fingers. Right?
Yeah, but you know yourself.
A maimed hand full of people. You
know yourself. Like, you could literally, if all you've ever been doing online is some now have pushed on to try and get better, but still at the same time they're still to the back of the queue, experience wise. Like they get absolutely. I've seen big lineups and some of them they get put on in between these big lineups because they have a huge following. Like they get absolutely mangled in between. Like these club beasts that are ripping it up every fucking week, like, you know.
And the eye opener that must be for your first time. Like, if you have done a handful of gigs here and there, and then you're on like a massive lineup with absolute murdering club set comics, and you're doing your like, so meandering story, meandering build up, no real, where are we going? Who knows? There's a punchline here soon. Don't worry about laughs per minute or anything like that, or the crack. We'll get there. Am I right? Like, wow. When you come off after that, having seen the person before you and after you, absolutely annihilated it with people laughing consistently for fucking 20 minutes. That must be like, what am I doing? That must be detrimental.
I don't know, because I don't know. Sometimes I don't think so, because they haven't because there's one thing fucking doing stand-up is teach you fucking humility fair quick.
Yeah. Well,
you know, but they haven't done it long enough, some of them, because I've never been on with this guy, and he's fucking huge, and like he's he's very, very good, incredibly good online.
Yeah.
But on a lineup, and there was a lot of his fans were there, you know what I mean? They're kind of alty people, but they were literally, God bless, like, amazing. They were literally waiting 3-4 minutes to hit it fucking funny.
Yeah. But again, that's more they were there to watch the person they see on the screen.
Yes.
I mean, out of absolute adulation, rather than a love of the art form that was being pursued at the moment. You know what I mean? It was more about
and you know, bookended either side of that was me and another, you know, fucking somebody who brings the chainsaw all the time. You know, like, but they were shell shocked. Like, holy fuck, they're throwing comedy at us. And once they got her on, but afterwards it's like, you know, polishing their knuckles kind of thing. Oh no, man, I hate you. Absolutely died in your bollocks in there. Yes, you had a bunch of your fans.
Yeah, but you died in your hole.
You died in your hole bad. You need to get better at that. You know what I mean?
But, look, those that acknowledge that, brilliant. Like, because, you know, I wouldn't sit down tomorrow, make a video on my phone that I think is a great sketch, put it up on the internet, and be like, murder that there with the 9 likes. Like, you know. They should make stand-ups, put their stupid videos in between actual content creators, and then vice versa. Like, you should have to perform at murdering clubs
or actual, you know, clapometer or some sort of measure in the comedy club to rate it against. Because if you hit 1 million views on a thing, clearly you're a fucking genius and you're a legend, and people are writing things, you know, badly spelling a lot of the time underneath this, like, but you go to the comedy club and in their head they're still ripping it.
Like, that's a lot of that.
It's just,
but not even that. There's we've got in this country some absolutely amazing online content creators, like some of the best, with some of the best. Some of the content
fucking class stuff.
Killer comedy. But then a lot of that is based on relatability, because that's what makes a lot of online work. But you can't go on stage and be like, I have a dog, have you a dog? And like people are like, what's this person on about? Like, you know, like on stage, it's not so much about relatability, it's about being shown something that you would never think of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Not to be identifying with something you do every day. And that's where they both differ in terms of, I think, the comedic delivery of what you're giving people. Like that's where stand-up and
you're 100% right. Yeah,
differs. You can't same thing, like putting stand-up clips on the internet, you might as well be pouring them into the fucking sink. Like, you know, if you put clips of crowd work on the internet, that works because it's relatable and you're slagging somebody. So crowd work works online, but stand-up clips don't really work online at all. Like,
no, it doesn't really. I've put up ones kind of going, there's no point to that at all, because there's no vibe in the room.
No.
You can't pick up the vibe in the room. Like,
that's right. The only reason crowd work clips work is because you hear the crowd going back and forward with the act.
Feels like you're being talked to.
Yeah, exactly. And that works. But like, apart from that, so the two art forms, like, they're two different things completely. But I guess I don't begrudge people taking gigs or getting gigs, because who would turn down a gig?
Yeah.
But I feel there's a little bit of cynicism there with bigger promoters or big people in the industry who are like, get those young kids in there and they've got loads of fans to put bums on seats and fuck the rest.
But I mean, then
then that's what you're going to do anyway.
That's they say it ain't show friendship, it's from show business, like, but it's like when it's fucking hard on lads. And I remember hearing it was a dancer chap I know, he's fucking man, he fucking kills himself.
Yeah.
Like he finished his degree in Bird College or whatever. Like fucking, he kills himself every day of the fucking week dancing. Like brilliant.
Yeah.
Busts himself over everybody I've ever seen in any troupe. Like, as I worked with him a few times in Limerick.
Yeah.
They're telling me like that. You know, now in auditions, he could fucking tear up in an audition, but then the production company will look at his Instagram following.
That's mental.
Versus somebody who mightn't show, and afterwards he's trying to make content. Then, fucking play, playing game, spent a lot of money trying to create content to get his numbers up.
Yeah,
and you're like, fuck off.
You're distracting the person from the talent that is what you need to pursue something else.
But it's purely because they want numbers on there so they can sell tickets. Yeah. So these dancers can,
I would argue, and from being involved with different gigs and from running gigs, I would argue there's a lot of these people don't put bums on seats.
No.
Put bums on seats, like, and they don't. And I've seen it in different gigs around town, and I've seen clubs kind of put on people for their numbers, and you're like, and a handful will put bums on seats, but the majority, and it doesn't matter how big their number is, majority don't put bums on seats. They just don't. And all you're doing is pissing off a stand-up comedy audience by putting on people, who maybe there was better choices to put on a given night,
Yeah. Jeez,
like Tom O'Mahony.
There you go. Well, in fairness to you, you've asked me twice to come on, and
I have, and you keep saying no, I can't, and waxing Paul Marsh's chest or something is the last thing you had.
It's a big chest.
It's a large chest. Yeah.
It's a big chest, but to that was what it was known as business. I'm not sure if you know, but a tasty segue there, Brian, because where you're trying to book me is in your very own comedy club.
Yes. Slaps Laughs Comedy Club is in Slattery's Bar Slattery's Pub, technically. Slattery's Pub D4. They put the word pub in to sound less D4, but it's near the Aviva Stadium, and it's every Sunday at 7 o'clock. It's a great comedy club. Started it actually, Tom, before Christmas, just to try it out every second Sunday, and that went okay. Went pretty okay. And then we went every week just to see would that work, and sure enough it did, because we've had a regular clientele. I would say it's probably a 55 seater club, and I would say 20 people a week are regulars. So every other week. So I have about 40 people who come every other week of the 55 seats, which is 20 a week who are there every other week, which is fantastic. I'm only booking like the best acts, I'm not booking bigger lineups, and this is no reflection on any other club, but some clubs book longer lineups in order to put on newer acts or shorter sets or whatever. But I only put on 3 acts and an open spot, and I host it, and it's great crack. It's a brilliant club. So anybody listen to this, wherever in Dublin on a Sunday, pop in. Tickets on Eventbrite, Slats Laughs, Slattery's Bar, D4, Slattery's Pub, D4.
Just look in the show notes down below, lads. I'll put it in the show notes.
Down there.
Yeah, just down below.
Down the bottom.
It is actually a great pub. Actually, that's a fine bar, yeah. It's a lovely pub. And I love the way they have to always, every time you say it's Slattery's Bar, D4. It's like, okay, we get it. We get it. We have to put our fucking collar up walking through the door. There's a ton of
Slattery's bars, man. And I have...
Oh, yeah.
I have, because of dealing with comics, and I know what comics are like when you're booking them for stuff, like, I literally send them a message about 12 times going, it's this one, because I know you'll get comedians going, I'm here, there's no gig, and you're in the wrong fucking bar. Like,
you're in Offaly. You're in fucking Offaly, for the love of Jesus.
That's very unlikely now that a Dublin comic would be in Offaly, but yeah. But yes, they would be in the wrong place anyway, Tom, that's for sure.
Well, this has been an absolute... This has been fantastic. We're going to start a militia, facial hair. You know, it's not a must, but we would, if anybody would like to get on board. We actually totally looked like we're definitely...
I feel, I've never felt very alt-right before looking at a screen, but when I look to my left and see you there as well, it's like, I feel like I'm part of a movement now, Tom. Part of a movement.
Fuck. I mean, it was there all the time in my head.
Yeah.
And now that you've said it out loud, I think we're probably hard right now, are we?
Moderate to right.
Fair enough.
Moderate to right, hard left, centre, sort of feudalist.
If only they knew what a couple of old fannies we are all together. Like, no, we're lovely. Stop it. We just look scary. It's all.
I just look rough. Like, I wax my legs, actually, even though I have a beard. I do.
He's so ironic, this guy. Absolutely bald from the neck down. Nothing. I've done it myself for him a few times. Like, he's incredible. It's just slides across fucking the floor. Brian Gallagher, thank you very, very much.
Tom Mahoney, pleasure as always. Chat to you soon.